Hello and welcome to PCB Podcast. I am your host SN Iftikhar Nagi, and in this episode I am joined by one of the greats of the game, Mr. Kumar Sangakkara, a former Sri Lanka captain, and he is now in Pakistan as the captain of the MCC touring squad. Kumar, you have scored a lot of runs in Pakistan and Sri Lanka colours, but how was it to pick the bat as an MCC captain?
Yeah, it was nice to get back to playing a little bit. I haven't played in quite a while, in about 2 years or so, and it was nice just to have a run around, get back in the nets, and then face some bowling. It's a bit nervous and nerve-wracking at times, not knowing how you'll go, but it's a very special tour, so to be a part of it is again, I'm very privileged.
You have gone out for golfing on this tour, and of course today you guys also went out for sightseeing. How has it been to be in Pakistan, and what message are you taking back from this trip?
It's been great being back in Pakistan, in Lahore. It's been a long time since I came here, 10 years or so, and for the MCC it's even longer. And for us to come here and play cricket in support of Pakistan's journey in terms of getting international cricket back, so that the best international teams and the best Pakistan players can play at home in front of their home fans. It's important that when you are in a country on tour, that you not only are confined to a hotel, that you can go around and enjoy the city, the country that you're in. And it was excellent for us to get to the Gymkhana golf course quite a few times. The players absolutely loved it. We were hosted with some amazing hospitality and warmth. They were always very welcoming. The members also were, always around saying welcome and thank you. It was a very humbling experience, and at the same time today to go and see the historic and beautiful Lahore Fort, and to be given a guided tour to understand the history of it, the architecture, and the greatness of the ruling dynasties that ruled there, was an eye opener for us, and a great day out. So the message we'll be taking back is all of that: the warmth of the people, the welcome in Lahore, the fabulous spectators who come to watch cricket, the passion the players and people have for it, our own experiences in terms of playing here, in terms of traveling about in Lahore, and the fact that we would love for teams to consider coming here so that international cricket can finally come back to Pakistan in full force.
There must have been some expectations before arriving in Lahore, and now it has been almost a week since you have landed over here. Have those expectations been met?
Well, I think the main expectation was always the provision of security, and having a secure atmosphere in an atmosphere in which the players can freely play and move around, and those arrangements have been exceeded, I believe. And everywhere we've gone, the security has provided us with the best possible guidance, supervision and protection. They have never been overbearing or overwhelming. They always managed to do it in a way that was, it was not. No, there was no stress in terms of our mental attitude when we arrived here and in the days leading up to now. The other expectations were not expectations; they were a given that the welcome will be warm, the people will be warm, the food will be amazing, the passion for the game is at an all-time high, and the thorough enjoyment of playing in Lahore would be great. And HSN College, we were hosted there exceptionally well by the principal and staff and the old boys. What a wonderful facility, such a historic school that have produced some of the greatest Pakistanis in terms of sport and society. What more can a touring team ask for really than that? And we've had the best time.
Kumar, as you have also mentioned about the hospitality, there was a lot of excitement with the arrival of the MCC team over here, and that was evident with how the Qaddafi Stadium almost filled to its capacity for what was just a warm-up match. And whenever Sri Lanka has played over here, they have received sort of a similar love from the people of Pakistan. So being in front of such a rousing crowd, did it bring back any memories of your innings over here for Sri Lanka in Pakistan?
I remember, all those times, all the cricket that I played here. But it's always special to come back and revisit it. And never expected such a big crowd for a first game against the Qalandars. But when you got to the ground, to have almost 19,000 people there, hungry to watch some cricket. We were really, really impressed, and we were very, very moved. And we understand very, very easily how much passion there is, and how the lack of international cricket is not a great thing for Pakistan, for the people, for the players, and for the financial status of the PCB. So it's important that things are put into context, moves are made, minds meet, and things are reconsidered, because on the back of this tour, the message, like I said before, is that we take back, that will reach other teams around the world, is that it's such a great place to tour.
Over the course of these matches, you have played against some of the exciting young talented cricketers in the Pakistan's domestic structure. Has anyone stood out for you so far?
I think that Pakistan has always produced some exceptional cricketers, especially young cricketers. A lot of variety, really fast bowlers, really good batsmen, mystery spinners, wrist spinners, you name it. They've come through the Pakistan local system. And on this trip, it was no different. There were so many players from the Qalandars side who were exciting, unorthodox. Then, of course, when you looked at the northern, the domestic T20 champions, you had some exciting players in the Shaheens. You had some really good batsmen. So I think Pakistan cricket is in a very healthy state.
We are closing towards the end of this edition of the podcast. There is a lot of debate about the 4-day tests at this moment. So where do you stand on that?
Well, the debate has been had for quite a long time. The World Cricket Committee, of which I'm a part, has been discussing this also. It's been discussed among players, I'm sure among the fans, administrators and so on, and the press. It doesn't matter where you emotionally stand on something like that, because if you ask me, do you love Test cricket? Yes, of course, without a doubt, it's my favorite format. Should it be 5 days? Yes, of course it should be 5 days, but the reality is slightly different. You have to ask the questions, how many Test matches really go into 5 days, how many people are now actually coming to the ground to watch 5 days of cricket, and is that a possibility? Will that be a realistic possibility into the future as well, with the time constraints of modern society, where a cash-rich, time-poor, younger demographic of people is what we're trying to attract to this game. The average age of a cricket fan in certain countries are 45 plus, which is not a healthy sign. So how do we attract all these younger players, newer fans into the game, keep the established fans' interest also? And it's a complicated thing. Day-night Test cricket has been mooted. Various other innovations brought to try and keep the crowds in the stadiums for Test cricket, and it has not been easy. And it's not just about the big sides that play, it's also about the slightly lesser sides that have had Test status. What does cricket mean for them? Is it cricket 5 days for certain sides and 4 days for others? That's not a healthy way to go forward either. So I think it's a debate that will go on for some time, but the solutions have to be practical and equitable. It has to be fair to both number one, to the spectators, to the sponsors, to the TV networks that bring in so much money into this sport, and to also the players. So it is not an easy answer to give of a yes or no, but a lot more thought has to go into it.
Kumar, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for coming to the PCB podcast. I hope our listeners also enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. Thank you so much for your time.